It's hot, huh? What up, kuanslog? Scott, your Time Lord comment, as well as the accustomed pathways of thought we're talking about. I've been thinking an awful lot about the Time Lord thing, and so I guess I'm going to be talking about me. Me. And to you, but I guess to everybody, but most of these videos are directed at me. It's the thing about being a Time Lord. It does not feel like a life continuity. It feels like a life broken up. But it also feels like separate lives. And thus, sometimes I feel like I could draw upon information from seemingly somebody else, because I'm not that person anymore. So my first incarnation I was way more, in my mind, I thought that the traditional way of life, the wife, the house, the car, the dog, the vacations, the career, just all that, I thought that was, that seemed tried and true. And yeah, I launched upon it as if, if that was going to be my life. And you talk about like the difference between like solitude and freedom, and oppression, and it's your ability to avoid it. And I was really conscious of being very locked into my life. My life enveloped me, shoved its fingers in my guts, and put its hands across my nose, and dictated my breathing, my blood flow, and how often I got to breathe. And I wondered at it. I wondered, like, how in the world I built a machine, and then I fashioned myself into a cog, and now I spin as fast as I can in order to give this machine life. And I just wondered about it. And then eventually I realized it couldn't be done, not for me anyway. And so my next incarnation was more of a traveler, more of a social organizer and social participant. I dealt with hundreds of people, and became part of hundreds of people. I was able to live like a turtle. Had everything I needed right around me, and if I lost everything, like I went from like a life of possessions to a life of none. So everywhere I went was home. And the thing here, like the difference here was now, when I say hundreds, actually, like it was way more than that. But I ran my own business. I taught classes. I worked jobs, career-like jobs, and temp jobs, and independent contractor work, and I was a comet, just like flinging across the stars, and in many cases that exposed me to people in such a way that you could. The amount of information I got from people was startling, and it exposed me to different concepts and possibilities of what people could get up to, and what ways other people live, ways that are really different. But I'm not, despite like, like, I remember once I taught a class that was, it must have been close to 75 people, maybe 100 people. And I didn't think twice about it. Now, like, if I hang out with like 3 people, I'm very conscious of the sounds and the pressures are crashing against me. But it's not detrimental. But it just seems like a lot. So my current incarnation is I hope trying to pick up some of the best traits of all the people I've been up until now, and not best for anything other than best for me. I'm no longer going to teach classes of large amounts of people or run my own business or anything like that. I'm no longer going to be putting all my effort into generating energy to have a system function. All that energy will go nowhere. it'll just go around me and for anything I want to do with my future. So I haven't really been different people, but I've certainly thrown myself into different ways of living. And I'm kind of glad I have. I also kind of wonder if my path might have been shorter, what I'd be doing right now, But there's no telling. 5 years from now, I might be doing something completely different, a whole nother way to live. I can imagine what those might be too, but I don't anticipate it. And as for like a custom pathways of thought, this is shorter because it's a little less talking about me. But a custom pathways of thought, like no matter what, depending on, like you're like a terrain, your mind's like a terrain, and our experience is like water flowing across it. And certain things just aren't good for me in particular, or you in particular. Might be perfectly fine for somebody else. So those things that what makes it bad for me, like you're talking about like hierarchy, that would be like water's coming rushing down across your landscape and it hits all these boulders, and it creates like this turmoil, and it's not pleasant. And you can't just say, hey, well, I like waves. I won't call it turmoil. I'll call it class 4 rapids, excellent for kayaking. That's like half of it. Let's say half of dealing with it, calling it excellent for kayaking. It's kind of like when dams, when it's a lot of rain, and sometimes dams open the spill gate. Stuff really gets stirred up, and so like your response to that sometimes might be like the spill gate, like this is just upsetting me no matter what, and you can really let it go. Like though I don't, no shout therapy. That's ridiculous. You can train yourself. Getting angry all the time doesn't vent your anger. It just it allows you to get angry more often. But you could not look away from the turbulence in front of you or inside you, and it seems to me that as time goes on, and the more I just acknowledge these rapids and look at them, I get a better idea of their scope. And as more and more water flows across it and more turbulence takes place, things seem to settle a little bit. And if they are Class 5 rapids and I'm going to kayak them, I've stared at them so long, I know just how to cross a path, through the rapids and across the rocks. And I'm not going to scratch my boat up like I used to. So I'm not into like trying to reprogram your mind, but I am aware that you can program your mind. So while Well, certain things will always be bothersome. We were talking about Redbird Saraceno is one of his channel names, and Chief Mouth No Shut is his other channel names. And he never responded to that video. He might not have seen it. He might not have the ability to see it right now. But certain things, sometimes certain things in your life must be accepted until they could change. And I think, for instance, if you've had dishwashing jobs your whole life and you want something else, you're going to have to build off that. He's going to have to accept what's going on, respond to it effectively and efficiently, and that might be changing it, his life. But you're not going to springboard into a new life off a rotten plank. So the skills necessary to deal with being a dishwasher are the exact same skills you're going to need to be something other than a dishwasher. Like my incarnations from one to the other wasn't an abandonment of what I didn't think was working. It was taking what I thought was working and taking it with me into my future. I couldn't have got to some of the great places I've got to in my past if I would have tried to fight I don't know, maybe even my fate, maybe like washing dishes all your life until you face that and deal with that. It's going to be in charge of you rather than you're going to be in charge of it, and you won't escape it necessarily. As that might not be the best way to look at it. The best way to look at it would be like I'm going to use it to find my way out. Not running from it. You're building with it. Oh, well. It's been a very egotistical video. Thank you very much for your video response and your excellent kind words and ideas. And I'm also glad to get the opportunity to go on and on about this, because it's been something that's been on my mind a lot lately, and it's given me an opportunity to put it into words. All right, kuanslog. I will see you in the tubes.